Welcome, friends. Before we begin, let us align as soul and as a group and see our group approaching Master Dwalkul's study. On this day of the Libra full moon, let us consider contemplatively as we prepare for the exact moment, which occurs in some hours from now, the teachings on Libra, the sign of rest, balance, equilibrium, from esoteric astrology, selecting a few that may have significance for us as individuals, as a group, but most importantly, as humanity. Libra, the crisis of balance, the emergence of the sense of self-direction and equilibrium. It is the point of equilibrium between soul and form. It signifies the emergence of free choice. It is consciousness of duality and the effort to balance the two. The cardinal cross will govern and rule the next solar system, and in this system governs the path of initiation, which is trodden by the flower of the race. Libra is one of the four arms of the cardinal cross. This accounts for our difficulty in understanding the real nature of its influence. Forget not that initiation is but another name for synthesis and fusion. Libra represents the stage of contemplation. Life of soul and form is balanced, neither dominates. Equilibrium, an interlude wherein the soul organizes itself for battle and the personality waits. This is the probationary path, duality known. Libra was literally the midway point. The situation was then in past eons as follows. We look at the signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Leo and Virgo were one, and the midpoint, Libra, followed by Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Libra then becomes the balancing of desire. The opposite objective to desire is the scales or balances. From another angle, we have Libra, the balances, as the supermind, the midway point, the cause of synthesis in this second solar system, the developing of the supermind to cause synthesis, which will be the keynote of the next solar system. These three signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, are preeminently signs of the mind of God as it expresses itself through man. The lower mind, related to Gemini, dominates at first, causing the recognition of the self and the not self, or the essential dualism which underlies all manifestation. Libra, the higher mind, however, steadily increases its power and control, producing the balancing of the pairs of opposites through the illumination which it brings to the lower mind. And then the soul, the eternal son of mind, the universal mind of Aquarius, becomes the ultimate synthesis, focusing and relating the universal mind to the two lower aspects of the mind of God. So, as we prepare for the integration of the techniques of indifference, the technique of the presence, and the technique of light, let us remember an ashram is a subjective experience. It is a place of quietly confident, regulated effort. The plan and the immediate service activity are known, and disciples and initiates, each aware of his or her task and equipment, proceed to carry out the phase of the one work which is theirs. Each senses its relationship to the phases of the work undertaken by our group brothers and sisters. In learning to see the picture whole as the Master ever sees it, that confidence and security are developed. So let us proceed with emerging silence to consider the qualities of the seven rays that emanate from the ashrams. First, consider the qualities embodied in the ashram of will and power, expressed as the soul of the new group of world servers, the world serving group. Strength, courage, steadfastness, truthfulness arising from absolute fearlessness, the power of ruling, the capacity for large-mindedness. Ponder on a quality of this ashram of power and will to which you can align. Affirm your choice with a silent Om. Consider the qualities embodied in the ashram of love wisdom, expressed as the soul of the new group of world servers, the world serving group. Calm, serene temper, patience, endurance, strength, love of truth, faithfulness, intuition, clear intelligence. Ponder on the quality that you hold in alignment with the ashram of love wisdom. Sound a silent Om, affirming your choice. Consider the qualities embodied in the ashram of active creative intelligence, expressed as the soul of the new group of world servers, the world serving group. Wide views on all abstract questions, sincerity of purpose, clear intellect, capacity for concentration on philosophic studies, patience, caution, absence of the tendency to worry over trifles. Choose a quality. Sound, a silent om, affirming your choice. Consider the qualities embodied in the ashram of harmony through conflict, expressed as the soul of the new group of world servers, the world serving group. Strong affections, sympathy, physical courage, generosity, devotion, quickness of intellect and perception. All qualities that we can embody on the incoming energies of this fourth ray of harmony through conflict as it gathers strength and the physical courage required to bring harmony through conflict in this incoming age. Select a quality. Confirm your choice with a silent om. We consider the qualities embodied in the ashram of concrete knowledge and esoteric science, expressed as the soul of the new group of world servers, the world serving group, embracing the science of relations, the science of triangles, the science of the centers, the science of esoteric understanding, the qualities of strictly accurate statements, justice without mercy, perseverance, common sense, keen intellect, uprightness, independence. Select a quality to embody as the expression of your soul, of this concrete knowledge. Sound a silent Om, affirming your choice. We consider the qualities embodied in the ashram of idealism and devotion, expressed as the soul of the new group of world servers, the world serving group. Devotion, single-mindedness, love, tenderness, intuition, loyalty, reverence. Choose a quality and affirm the quality shared with the group, embodied in our group service as part of the one world serving group, and sound a silent Om of affirmation. And now we consider the qualities embodied in the ashram of ceremony and ritual, expressed as the soul of the new group of world servers, the one world serving group in the coming age. Strength, perseverance, self-reliance, courage, courtesy, extreme care in details. Choose a quality. Sound a silent Om, affirming your choice. Master DK says that there is therefore the individual experience in Libra of a balanced life wherein experiment is made and the consequent tipping of the scales in one direction or another until either desire or spiritual aspiration weighs the balances down sufficiently so as to indicate the way that the individual person must go at the time. There is the experience of humanity in Libra in which the same adjustments and experiments are being made, but this time the entire race is involved and not just an individual. This group experience carried out upon the mental plane will only happen when all are polarized mentally and will take place and constitute the judgment day referred to in other parts of esoteric astrology. Of this, the point of crisis in Libra and the present world situation and needed adjustment is the forerunner. So in this way, we are still in a phase of the forerunner. This time, the balancing is, however, upon the astral plane, and the desires of men and women everywhere are predominantly in a position of casting the deciding factor, whereas in the next great cycle, it will be the minds of men and women which will do the deciding. We are at this midway point. Therefore, we work in the realm of the trained observers to devitalize Maya, dissipate glamour, and dispel illusion. How can we radiate the qualities that we chose, these virtues, as a group, as our group soul consciousness, using the technique of light, using the technique of indifference, and the technique of the presence? By means of the technique of light, the illumined mind assumes control over the astral or emotional body and dissipates glamour. When light pours in, glamour fades out. Illumination dominates, and the vision of reality can be seen. It produces ability to tread the path of discipleship and enables the man and woman to live a life enlightened by divinity. This illumination is the applied power of transformation. By means of the technique of indifference, Maya is ended, for the control of the purified astral vehicle is consciously and technically brought into activity, producing the freeing of the energies of the etheric body from the control of matter or force substance, and bringing men and women everywhere in large numbers onto the probationary path with some awareness of soul consciousness. For where there is divine indifference to the call or pull of matter, then inspiration becomes possible. This technique is related to karma yoga in its most practical form and the use of matter with complete impersonality, enabling one to live a life inspired by God. For inspiration is the applied power of transmission. By means of the technique of the presence, the soul assumes control of the integrated personality and of its relations, horizontal and vertical. This technique involves the unfolding of the flower of the intuition, dispelling illusion, revealing the angel, indicating the presence, and opening up to the disciple the world of ideas and the door of the higher initiations. Through the disciple's grasp and application of these divine ideas or seed thoughts, the disciple becomes an initiate, and the third initiation becomes possible as an immediate goal. The intuition is the applied power of transfiguration. The technique is related to the little-known yoga called Agni Yoga, or the yoga of fire. We are in a process of integrating these three techniques. The technique of indifference, the technique of light, and the technique of the presence. We stand today at the midway point. and we choose the way that leads between the two great lines of force. Let us remember Master DK's teachings and enter the presence. Stage by stage, each person progresses from one state of illusion or glamour to another, from one point of discriminative opportunity to another, until we have developed three major capacities: the capacity to handle force, the capacity to tread the middle way, and the capacity to use the intuition. He says, you must bear in mind that none of these stages are in reality divided off from each other by clear lines of demarcation, nor do they follow each other in a clear sequence. They proceed with much overlapping and often with a partial simultaneity. It is only when the disciple faces certain initiations that they awaken to the fact of these distinctions. Linking your heart, head, and Ajna centers. Find the spark of monadic life hidden within the center of your being. Allow this point, that which you perceive as the presence, to permeate your entire being. Aligned with the soul of all, draw down soul radiance into the egoic lotus, the soul vehicle, the vessel of the soul in incarnation. Now stand on this level of the abstract mind, at this point of equilibrium, this midway point, and receive from the ashram. And know that you will continue to receive throughout this day and during the days of distribution that follow. Sound the soul mantra. I am the soul. I am light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. Our aim is to embody spiritual discernment, practice positive harmlessness, and eventually achieve a state of divine indifference as we dispel illusion, dissipate glamours, devitalize Maya in all our relationships. We radiate the qualities, the virtues of the group, soul consciousness, as we follow the technique of light the technique of indifference, aligning with the presence. As the greater group that is formed and is forming, becoming the channel for the dissipation of glamour and dispelling of illusion, we use the sign of the cross of divinity to enable the protective formula. Let us sound it together. As the soul, we work in light, and darkness cannot touch us. We take our stand within the light. We work, and from that point, we never move. Together, let us hear the note of the soul, visualize the light of the soul, the light of mind, and the light of matter or brain, merged and blended, recognizing, feeling the intent of the soul. Then, from that high point of soul focus, using the triple light, we merge and blend first our individual lights, and then see the individual lights merging and blending into one group center. We see those joining us from the other side of the veil, those with us subjectively, all those who will be with us through listening and viewing our work together today, and bring in the light of the senior disciples and initiates, serving to dissipate glamour, dispel illusion, bringing their light as this triple light. Then, as the group soul, the realized unity of the souls of all the group members, becoming the great searchlight, growing, expanding, realized into a state of becoming the great one united light, yet quiescent still at this point and not yet radiating out. Allow it to build. On this day of the Libra full moon, we build this light, a point of rest where the light can grow, expand, and be realized as the point of balance. Maintaining a focused, immovable will as our point of tension, the identification of the brain, mind, and soul of all of the group with the will aspect, preserving that identification unchanged and immovable in all circumstances and difficulties, knowing that the will aspect is contacted only from the mental plane. Aligned with the soul and the abstract mind and spiritual discernment, we invoke the will along the 7 lines of energy. The will to initiate, the will to unify, the will to evolve, the will to harmonize, the will to act, the will to cause, the will to express. We pause for a few minutes as we attempt to throw behind the searchlight our united, directed, and dynamic will or intent along the projected beam of light, carrying the destructive quality of the spiritual will, destructive to all that hinders the manifestation of divinity. Having attained a united point of tension, having dedicated the individual and the group will to the will of God, this act of will, carried on by each member of the group silently, with a deep realization that all of us are thus accepted, and it is the group will which is being silently focused. We say together, with power upon its beam, the light is focused on the goal. We enter into a beam of directed, focused light, revealing a greater light and illumining the way to the center of the light, this light directing our way. Then we say in unison, the light is one, and in that light shall we see light. This is the light that turns the darkness into day. Sounding the Om as the group soul on its own plane, sounded forth by the group soul, the realized unity of the souls of all the group members. Sounding the Om as the soul on the mental plane. Sounding the Om as the soul on the astral plane, the soul ready to function as light bearer and distributor of light upon the astral plane. Now merging into the group presence, with those joining subjectively and from the other side of the veil and via our many enlightened service activities, our current service groups and triangles of light, in the heart, in the mind, in the heart, in the head, we sound through this triangle the mantram of light. Radiance we are and power. We stand forever with our hands stretched out, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding, Thus, with the light, we work and turn the darkness into day. Silently connect into the great web of light, illuminating the jewel in the lotus of the group field, the group vessel, the central vessel of the presence in the crown of the group, sounding in unison with all world workers. Om Mani Padme Hum. Using the creative imagination, hold a vision of your being illumined, transformed. The groups with which you're working and affiliated, transformed. The nations, transformed. The world, transformed with this light. Using the creative imagination, hold a vision of your being inspired as the transmitting agent of the soul. The groups with which you're working and affiliated as agents, transmitting the radiance of the soul. And with the growing power of this light, nations transformed as cooperative entities, as agents of the plan for humanity. And we see the world with the power of love, wisdom, and all its sub-rays evolving in alignment with the plan as the hierarchy is externalized. Om Mani Padme Hum. For some, energy follows thought, and the I directs the energy onto the physical plane relating to the first initiation. Others have learned that energy follows thought and use the Ajna Centre and the so-called third eye. This is the will as an expression of the law of sacrifice, involving the astral plane, as we do using the technique of light. And eventually the astral fogs disappear. This involves all who are working toward the second initiation. Also, energy follows thought concerns the heart center the advancing point of light. For the monad is to the planetary logos what the third eye is to humanity. This involves the mental plane and relates to the third initiation. So in these three, we find the way in which the three techniques become merged and blended in group formation. And for those who have passed the third initiation, energy follows thought concerning the head center, the light of purpose. And we'll repeat as we know that these are not divided off from each other by clear lines of demarcation, nor do they follow each other in a clear sequence. It is all part of the Ajna Centre opening and eventually merging with the crown center. And we stand with the one world serving group, the Ajna Centre of our planetary logos, and bring all of these eyes of energy following thought together in a new communion, in a new unity. At this midway point in this annual cycle, drawing on the light that we bring together in group formation. We become part of the inaugurating vessels entering this era of light, developing a free control of the astral plane with its quality of freedom from illusion and glamour. This freedom will be brought about when right observation takes the place of the disturbed vision of the present, and glamour will be dissipated through the right direction of the light of the soul throughout the plane of illusion, that plane of illusion in which we live in these bodies. The Aquarian age will be predominantly the age of synthesis and light, and we pour our endeavors into that incoming Aquarian age. For the processes of light and their relation to group glamour and to individual glamour form a very close connection. Right illumination, which is another name or aspect of right direction, will take the place of glamour, and the objective, personally considered, of the group of disciples utilizing the technique of the trained observers is to bring light into dark places and illumination into all lives, but first into our lives. For it is divine indifference which is responsible for the fact that in attempting to describe pure being, understanding the nature of divinity, we use the formula of negation, and yet beginning to know that it is God who is the one who can withdraw, and in withdrawing, dispel, dissipate, and devitalize all that has been created, using those words in their fullest significance. So we lift to focus on the presence, the soul, and the unified mind, brain, mind. And then on the wings of the angel of the presence, using the triple light of the great searchlight, we can rise on this beam to draw into our vessels, our group vessels, the radiant, directed, and focused light that guides us into the presence and eventually into identification as being. The will and the breath are occultly synonymous terms. We breathe on the inhalation. We breathe out on the exhalation. Invocation and evocation. The divine circulatory flow. The clue to the ending of Maya. From the soul vessel of the united group, we breathe the will of the soul into the lower bodies and achieve to the degree we can a level of divine indifference. Indifference to the world of Maya on the etheric physical plane under the law of abstraction. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhalation, exhalation. Invocation, evocation. Equipped with these powers, the power of transmission, the power of illumination, and the power of the intuition, the initiate then becomes aware of the two great and apparently opposing entities, the angel of the presence and the dweller on the threshold. And yet, behind the presence, the angel of the presence, we can dimly sense not another duality, but this great identity, a living unity, which we call the presence. Directing our way. Having sensed this great identity, living unity, then we discover the way out. The dweller and the angel must be brought together. We stand in Libra at the midway point, the way that reaches out in two directions. The lower entity must be blotted out in the light. The lower entity must be forced to disappear within the radiance. We visualize indifference to the forces of the lower 18 subplanes and the use of the illumined group mind to receive the pure ideas that are transmitted through the soul as beams of light, illumined light. The higher intuition illumining the lower intuition, developing ideas as thought forms of solution, beginning to be made available to us from the rain cloud of knowable things. So let us, with this triple light, complete the act of projection from the great searchlight. We utter the words of power, naming the glamour under the sign of Libra, which is the subject of our attention, and bringing it consciously into relation with the focused light to begin the task of dissipation, to clear the fogs of illusion and glamour from the astral plane, that the ideas may be expressed onto that clear, transparent, focused plane of receptivity, and humanity can develop soul consciousness. The power of our united light prevents the appearance of the glamour of knowing and the illusion of understanding. The power of our united light negates the quality of kama manasic thought, of knowing, and the illusion of understanding from affecting humanity. The power of our united light destroys the life behind the glamour of kama manasic thought, thinking we know, and the illusion of understanding, thinking we understand. These words are our act of affirmation. They gain strength from the experience that we have together and from our familiarity and regular use. We will now direct this light onto the astral plane, where these pockets of knowing what is not knowing in truth, and the illusions in the pockets of illusion of those functioning through kama manasic thought, believing they understand what the world needs. Let us shine this great searchlight into those pockets, into those places, into those thought forms on the astral plane, preventing the appearance, negating the quality, and destroying the life behind these glamours. We visualize the gradual dissipation and dispersal by the penetration of light into its darkness. We endeavor to see the glamour disintegrating and the reality emerging, doing this by an effort of the creative imagination, each in our own way and according to our own understanding and capacity, in silence. Throughout the days of distribution, please bring yourself back to this point of silence, merged with the group. And in the days of distribution, become enlightened as to how we can continue to see this glamour disintegrating as the points of crisis around the world dissipate, devitalize, dispel into the point of rest in Libra and establish a new point of equilibrium. As a group, we withdraw our consciousness from the astral plane and the world of glamour, refocusing our attention first on the mental plane. Then on the soul plane, relinquishing all thought of the glamour, knowing that the work has been successfully carried forward. We reorganize ourselves as a group in relation to the kingdom of souls and to each other. Occultly speaking, the searchlight of the soul is shut off. We sound the Om in group formation, and then, in order to emphasize that the group work is ended, I will sound the Om aloud and say, Om. So let it be, and help us in our group life and all of the group lives to end all glamour and untruth. We'll close today with the mantra that were given by Master DK for groups moving toward the full moon. Into the light we move, beckoned thereto by thee. Out of the dark we come, driven thereto by the soul of all. Up from the earth we spring, and into the ocean of light we plunge. Together we come, together we move, guided and led by the soul we serve and by thee, the Master we know. The Master within and the Master without are one. That one are we. The one is all. My soul, thy soul, the Master, and the soul of all.